Okay, this is my tour of my Challenge A student binder. Lots of people have been asking about it, and a couple people specifically asked me for mine. They saw it in a picture. So this is my student binder for Challenge A, how I will be assembling my daughter's binder, and also the parents in my class. It's the first year for Challenge for my campus and for any of my parents, and they were all happy to follow my lead on this and say, sure, whatever you're doing, we want to do it too, because we don't know what we want. So it's a 2-inch binder, and here we go. I scanned that and then just printed it again with a name on the front. So the main idea behind how this binder is organized is that I have these main tabs down this side, and then I will also have some sub tabs inside, and I'll show you what those are. I got this idea from some other director. I don't know her name, and I don't know where her YouTube channel was. So whatever other director you are, if you already had this idea, I give you credit for it. So these big ones you want to get, if you look at all the tabby options, these ones are 9.5 inches wide, and typically you can get them with a pocket. These are Avery ones, and they're the write-on, so you can actually use pencil and then erase them if you need to use them again or change the order. So I have one, and this first one is called Assignments. And then inside Assignments, I have 2 other tabs. And these dividers, these happen to be clear ones with cute little round things on the end, so they'd be different. But these are 8.5 inch wide, so they're exactly the same size as the sheet of paper. So page protectors would cover this up. Page protectors will not cover up these 9.5 inch wide ones. The page protector would come right out to the edge. So just know that you need the 2 sizes if you're going to do it this way. 9.5s for the big tabs and 8.5s for the small tabs. So what I have here is the first tab is the homework schedule, and the second tab is the guide assignment. So homework schedule is whatever planner that particular family wants to use. I've got a few that I've printed out that I might try that I just have stuck here. We'll decide what we're going to do later. Yeah, so whatever the parent is going to use as a planner will go there. And then the guide assignments are the second tab, and I copied those out of the guide. And I just put a sticky on whatever week, and then there's everything. So when it's put your assignments into your planner day, they can just go back and forth, or they can pull out their personal planner sheet and set them on the table, and then reference this one and copy everything onto what days of the week they want to do it. So everything behind this tab is assignments. And then I have all of the strands, and I just put them in order of the guide, just because why not? So I have logic first, and I have the math trivium table on the front. I asked all my parents to get 2 of the trivium tables, math and Latin. I'm hoping that we'll be able to use those a lot in class, but because they will take them home, then they will be able to use them also at home to help with their homework, hopefully. So we'll see. So here's logic with the trivium table, and then just a little bit of paper, and I'll tell you why in a minute when I get to my notebooks. But because we do most of the math on the board together as a group, they don't really need to write a lot down. So here's some for notes, but they don't really need a ton because the binder, as you can see, is already really full. So we didn't want to actually put too much in there. The next tab is the grammar tab, and there's the Latin trivium table. And I have a whole single subject notebook in here. And the reason I did this, and this was one of the main things that the other mom who I stole this idea from, that she did, I didn't know that these 3 holes were punched exactly so that you could open this in your binder without taking it out. I never realized that. It only works for a 2-inch or a 1-inch probably. If you have a 3-inch or more, the rings are too wide and it doesn't lay flat. But for a 2-inch, it lays perfectly flat. So if you want to do your Latin right here in your book, you can. Or if you do not want to sit here and work with your whole big giant notebook, you can just take it out and go sit on the couch. Or, well, I've got my little ringy thingies stuck. There they are. You can go to the couch. You can go to mom's room. You can go wherever you want to do. And then you can always put it right back in, and everything is right there together. I really, really, really dislike the loose leaf paper that I stuck just a little bit of in math because they're just flying everywhere. You can get them out of order. You can get them in only halfway, and the little tabbies rip out really easily. But a spiral bind with the 3-hole, the papers will be really very secure, whether you're in the notebook or out of the notebook or anything you want, and it still makes it portable enough that you don't have to actually be working in your giant binder all the time. So that, with the big and small tabs, was the thing that made me go, oh, I want to organize this way, because not only is it all together, but it can also be completely separate. So whichever way you like to organize, you can do both if you have these guys independent. So there we go. There's my soapbox on that. We are following the Amy Tellison Latin plan up there with her notebook. You can look her up, amytellison@gmail.com, and get her book for, I think it's $7, and print it out. And our whole class decided to use her, and so I made up some homework sheets to help the kids keep up with that. So moving on, next tab is research, and I have again a notebook so they can work in the binder or pull it out and work wherever. I created for them a dry erase or wet erase sheet to help them remember about how to fuse their sources for their science reports. So I made a little ditty at the top, and I gave them a spot here for source 1 and 2, and then fused paragraph 1 and 2, just so they could remember how to do that. And on the back, I created a master Iew checklist. This is not a requirement for this strand. It is just mentioned in the guide somewhere that, remember to put in some dress ups and things like that. But from the other parents that I know with other older challenged students, they struggled with getting their child to actually do that without the presence of a checklist. So it's dry erase. We aren't like keeping these. We're not keeping keyword outlines like we did in IEW, but they should use those tools and know that those are the tools that they need. So laminated sheet so they can use it. And of course, mom doesn't have to require it, etc., etc. But there it is. So inside the big research tab are 2 more of the smaller tabs. And the first one is for science fair. And I literally just copied out the whole science fair section from the guide so that the mom and the student will both have access to all of the things that they need to know. So kid doesn't have to go borrow mom's guide and then destroy it or lose it. And then the next one is for anatomy, and that's the same thing. I just copied all of the anatomy things, the terms, the questions, and all the sketches so that the child has all the things they need without going to get mom's guide. The next tab is reasoning, and again, because we're using analogies now and literally everything is done in the workbook, I just put in a very small stack of paper in case they need to take a note or want to copy something down, or if they have I don't even know, but there it is for this strand. I didn't want to leave a strand out of the book, but probably we won't need it. So again, small stack because the binder is very full and it doesn't need a whole notebook. Next is the debate tab. And I have the notebook in here for writing their geoterms, making their geoterms dictionary. And then I didn't need a tabby for the copied section because there's literally nothing else in here. So we can just turn to it. And that's all the stuff copied out of the guide. The get a grid and all the lists for the whole thing. And then the last one is exposition. And of course we do have the LTW notebook, but a lot of the parents don't want to have their kids use it. They want to have them do it all on paper, and you need your paper to write your papers anyway. So again, just a plain old notebook is all that's in there, and they can pop it out and use it and store it here, or they can do it right in here. Since it's at the back, it isn't quite as easy to open it and have it be flat. But, whatever. You get the drift. And then these are just my leftover tabs. This was a pack of 8, so there was 1 left. And then there's my little extra tabbies for the inside. So if later I decide I need something, I've got them all right here. So that's the end of my student binder. It is big and it is heavy, but since you can pull things out, it's not so bad to have to work with. So student binder, and I'll do another video of my director binder, which is much more like a student binder than it is like a guide. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.